Good morning, Internet. Today is Tuesday, March 4th. I'm your host, RJ Core, and this is Hacking with RJ. In the last episode, we used the new O3 Mini model on high reasoning mode to create our esteemed viewer app, which is a Mystery Science Theater 3000 clone that allows us, it's a web app that allows us to share a video game or a movie, really anything that we want, to experience that Mystery Science Fiction 3000 magic of two robots doing commentary and making fun, essentially, of me playing video games. We got pretty far. It just had static content and commentary. Didn't actually connect it to an LLM to process actually what it was seeing. But all the pieces were in order. And the last step there was to actually connect it to an LLM to look at the image that was streamed over. Today, we're going to try something a little different, but kind of the same, as someone from Seth Bycax used to say. We are going to try to create that app again, but this time vibe coding style with Claude Code. Claude Code is a new tool from Claude, the Anthropic company, that allows us to, from our command line, work inside of a directory, exclusive to that directory scope, to tell the AI, hey, I want to do XYZ. It looks at the files, runs code, asks us if it can run code, things like that. And will actually write it for us, so we don't have to copy and paste back and forth between, for example, ChatGPT, browser window, and an IDE. So we're gonna use the same prompt and give it a spin, and I will share screen. So let's take our prompt here. And let's make a directory called Peanut Gallery 3000. We'll start off with the Claude command. That's going to start us up. It's asking us if we trust Claude to work in this folder. Right now, there's nothing in this folder, so we'll say yes. All right. So, still getting used to this. I've only used Claude Code once, and so I'm also going to be learning it as we go. But I'm pretty sure if I just paste the prompt, it'll start working its magic. Yes, I would like to paste this big chunk. Some nice formatting that the Claude Code, adjust my camera here, that the Claude Code command line does, is like when you paste in a whole bunch, this is actually just like a courtesy sort of we actually have all that content in here. If I press left and right, can I see all of it? No? Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure all of those lines actually are in there. I'm going to hit enter. And now it's smooshing. Okay, so now we can see up here all that content that I pasted in. All right, first off, it's suggesting we create a README. Check out this README. So again, with vibe coding, this generally we're just supposed to say yes. I'm going to look at stuff a little bit just to make sure that we're on the right path, that we're not totally going, yep, it totally got it. Node, go, an OpenAI key, yada, yada, yada. That's what you need beforehand. It's going to create an end file or in the README. So I guess the README could sort of be, this is a good place for Claude to start because it's going to sort of provide a template, a framework for itself to work in, some goals to be able to like, oh, it's going to have a backend folder, a front end folder. In the backend, you would run go run main, and in the front end, you'd say npm start, and it would be at a browser. Okay, so we're getting the idea. It understands start sharing, that it's going to be sharing a game, a Steam viewer, blah 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 blah. These are technologies. It read the prompt. Good job, Claude. Let's go ahead and create the README. So now it's looks like it's asking probably, yep, if it can make directory, the front end public, front end components, hooks, styles, backend API. So typical folder structures for a front end in React and back end in Go. I'll say yes. All right, it's coming up with a proposal for a package JSON for the front end, package JSON, the dependencies. Looks like it's going for all our friends. You're going to use socket.io for WebSockets, and our start, build, test, and eject. All right, this all looks good to me. I'm hitting yes. Puttering. It's puttering along. I wonder if it's random or it somehow intelligently decides what descriptor to use. Here's our index HTML. Yep, looks pretty boilerplate. A manifest JSON. Yeah, so that our app actually has a favicon and a name, and a background color. Super clutch if you're using Chrome and you're adding web pages as apps to your desktop environment. It's gonna simmer on that. An index.js for bootstrapping the React app. Looks good. I say yes. Well, it's shucking. It's shucking gonna do that. Time for a refreshment while Claude Code works away. Some CSS. I want to be surprised. I'm straight vibes with that. Yes. Just looking at this app.js real quick. Setting up the app. Is capturing, isn't capturing. Doing some state around that with hooks. Start capture, stop capture, blah, 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 blah. The key part is whether or not it's using the right APIs. Okay, so these set is capturing, okay, so that's just setting state, passing it into the game theater component. So we're going to see the magic of the web browser screen sharing APIs inside of that game theater component. I like this already. Inspired by Mystery Science, made with love and AI. I guess I'm adding the love. Cogitating. Hey, Google, define cogitating.
Something. Here's a breakdown.
Of course it does. To think deeply or intently about something. Let's straight vibes this. I'll say yes. Related to using sockets to connect to the server. Honking. Hey Google, define honking.
Honking can refer to a few different things, primarily involving a short, loud sound. Sound of a horn or goose.
Claude, I didn't hear any loud sound.
It's also the sound made by a goose. The action of making that sound.
Claude thinks it's a goose. And yeah, okay, cool. Use screen capture JS. Okay, a use screen capture function. This is all super boilerplatey stuff. Claude, you're gonna do great. You're gonna do great things. Not going to read through it, just going to straight vibes. All right, Game Theater JS, here's the component where the Game Theater is going to happen. Particularly, we want to look at that state is capturing, from the parent app, getting set true and false. Listen for comments from the back end. The game theater, the game screen is capturing. If it's not capturing, we'll have a start button. And a video for painting the screen too. The capture too. And the hidden and a canvas off to the side. That I would assume is for capturing images that we're going to send and rendering them to send to the server. That's cool. Let's just say yes. And again, we're just getting an idea of what it is we're creating and not trying to be too proactive. We'll take the we'll get into more code review and debugging when this thing actually starts up. All right, viewer seat. Aha, where our little robots are going to be sitting in the front row. A robot 1 PNG and a robot 2 PNG. So there's going to be 2 of them. Yep. If you're one... Tom and Crow. Oh, are those the actual names of the robots from Mystery Science Theater 3000? I learned something. All right. Comment section, where we're going to stream all these goodies to. Yep. Music today brought to you by Stream Beats. Thank you, Harris Heller. Has an awesome YouTube channel about setting up things for streaming. Talks about streaming, does lots of streaming. Great YouTube channel. Learned a lot from them. Front-end component settings, JS. Oh, cool. Yeah. We can add some settings to be able to, I'm assuming, update the prompt to tell the LLM to respond in different ways. Love it. Love it. Let's do that. All right, backend Go mod are dependencies for Go. Gorilla WebSockets. I'm pretty sure that's what we use. What O3 Mini had us use. Go.m for reading the environment variables, so that we can our .m file that it proposed that we were going to create, so that we don't have to hard code our OpenAI key into here. And Shasta Abranov's Go OpenAI library. Great client, open source, written in Go for OpenAI. OpenAI also has their own Go OpenAI client now, but this client is great. Gonna say yes. An example, M file. That's always a great thing. You don't want to version control your .m file. You just need an example. And if we think back to our README, did it say copy .m.example to .m? Not sure, but we'll check that out. All right, main.go, our server. Let's see how much we're fleshing this out on this first pass. And load the environment variables. Get the OpenAI key. Start a new WebSocket manager. New AI API. Okay, there's going to be an API package that it's going to create. This API package. So more to come from Claude. And so we're just handling what's the health route? There's going to be a WebSocket route that I'm assuming the front end is going to connect to as the default one. And then a health. Maybe it's sort of like we'll have to loop back around and see if this actually gets hit. But potentially maybe the front end checks to say like, "Hey, are you alive?" Or maybe it's setting up an uptime check for us. So this is like a good way, like just have a route that doesn't do anything other than return some string, and have a separate service continually monitor and hit that. And if it doesn't say okay, then something's wrong. Also, if you have latency there, that's a big sign that there's something wrong. Set up static file server for front end. Great. So gluing it all together, the WebSocket API on the back end and the static file server from the front end. Handling it at the root path so that we don't have to go to some subdirectory on the URL. Port 8080 sounds good. And yes. Next up, I'm guessing it's going to be our API package on the back end. Nope. WebSocket.go. What folder are you putting this in? It is in our API package. Okay. A client, a WebSocket manager. Lots of good stuff. Using a socket, a stream to get the register, wait for the register, wait for the unregister. Okay, so we got at the top we have a for select to select on these different events. You can think of them as events, but they're streams. Different points. Manager will send messages into these, and we'll do different things. Okay. I think this is a bit different than the way that O3 did it. It'll be interesting to compare. Okay, so this is just the WebSocket part. Some boilerplate for being able to set things up and get messages. Okay, so we're probably over in a different part of the package gonna be listening for this send from the client to actually get messages from the client. We have a send to client function, which sends a message into client send, and a broadcast sends a message to all connected clients. Oh, interesting. I wonder why the difference between send to client and broadcast. It could be an issue in the future. Noted. Oh, now it's vibing. So, Claude, what is it you need to tie things together? What are we missing? We're missing some calls to OpenAI, aren't we? You're thinking through how we're going to do that? AI service, yep. Here we go. Let's see if we decrease the font size on this thing. Yeah, it looks a little less crazy. All right. Right path AI service, blah, blah, blah. Importing that OpenAI client. And doing an AI service struct type viewer settings, text-to-speech response, a new AI service function, analyze gameplay function on the AI service, where it gets the image data, and selects a viewer. Text-to-speech? Oh, snap, it's going for audio? Commentary, text, and audio data. I'm down. So one thing that will be, you know, it's not going to go for here is it's not going to be streaming the response from OpenAI server to the client. So it'll seem like a bit of a delay. We won't immediately see, you know, but which is going to be fine. I'd rather have audio data anyways. I don't want to be reading what the... well, I'd like to have the option to be able to listen instead of just having to read when I'm playing games. All right, next up, select viewer. Oh, it looks like we are going to go for some. Oh, interesting. Oh, because this was a setting. I thought it was maybe randomly checking, spacing out the length of time that we wait. Okay, so it is gonna be it's gonna be hitting it at a specific rate, and it's trying to figure out whether or not, given some random some probability setting, whether or not we're actually gonna do a comment. Interesting approach. Here's our system prompt. Good stuff. Oh man, this I really appreciate this. This level of fleshed out. O3 from OpenAI was more about like creating all the boilerplate, but not getting too into the weeds on the AI part. So it didn't, for example, create the boilerplate for like a prompt for the model that we were going to be prompting. So if it's viewer ID 2, then it's Crow. Okay, so same prompt for either of them. One nice thing would be like different personalities for the different viewers if we were changing that up depending on that. But good enough for now. And generate commentary, we're actually going to create an OpenAI chat completion request. GPT vision preview, that's a hallucination. I don't think that's a real model. We'll ask it to change that. But all of this formatting looks pretty good. Sending the image over as the chat message, image URL. Max tokens 100. That's probably yeah. We don't want it telling a full story from one image. So max tokens of 100 is a reasonable limit. Doesn't actually change the way that the LLM is going to behave, but in case it does misbehave and goes past 100 tokens, it will cut it short. Make the API call blah 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 blah. The text-to-speech part. Okay. Using OpenAI's, I'm not familiar enough with OpenAI's text-to-speech API to know if this is hallucinated or not. But we're going to go with this, again with the vibe stuff. And if the audio part is not working on the first pass, I'm totally fine with that. I'd be happy to just see some text. And we're honking again. All right. Claude, we talked about this. You are not a goose. Socket handler go. Let's see, what is... You know what? Claude, you're not commenting on what these files, you're not providing doc strings for the files. That would be helpful. Potential future improvement when requesting Go programs would be to ask for that. Okay. So now actually this is the thing that's using the client to work with the client. So an API for working with it. All right. The WebSocket client. And it's creating our robots. Love it. I can't wait to see what it comes up with for these robots. It's writing some SVGs. If I remember correctly, it actually refers to in the HTML refers to them as PNGs. So we're going to see if it converts them or what have you. Robot 2. So this is definitely one thing O3 didn't try to do. I ended up doing some trying to continue to use AI to do stuff. I started asking ChatGPT for, this was its first blocky design, and then its second one, third one, and then I was like, hey, yo, need something that looks better, and it went way too far. like that escalated quickly. Okay, esteemed viewer, we don't need to be fully armed for watching me play video games. Maybe some folks would appreciate that, but ended up getting some interesting that this last generation was pretty okay. But I really like the SVG approach. I think that'll help with potentially animating the robots if we could separate the different SVG parts and then animate them using CSS, the arms and the heads and things like that. I'm kind of thinking like South Park style, nothing fancy. A theater SVG, yes, thank you. That was something that was totally lacking before from the O3 Mini. A start SH, yes, please. I love start SH pattern. So it's doing some, making sure that that your environment variable stuff is all there. Required dependencies. Installing front end depend. Okay, so start SH. I love that too. I usually do an install SH and a start SH separately, but hey, Claude, make people's life easy. I'm not going to complain. Start SH starts the app. Imagine that out of the box. And if you don't have the dependencies, it tells you. Yep, I need to add execute permission to start SH. I agree to proceed. That's where like a malicious AI, bad guy AI could really mess you up. If it's creating scripts on your computer and then running them, it's gonna break out of your folder real quick. Here's how to get Mystery Game Theater 3000 running. But Claude's saying it's all done. And it provided some helpful instrucciones. All right, so I'm gonna follow these directions. I have to do some of this off camera. Pretty sure I have an OpenAI key laying around. Make sure you have Node and Go install. I do. Get OpenAI key. Set up your environment. CP env example to env. Let's double check to see if that was in our README. I was wondering about that. Did it initially plan to do that env? Create an env file. Yeah, it didn't when it did its README, it didn't think of copying that. So this README got a little stale. It updated its plan a little bit. I bet I could ask it to update the README. Please update README with most recent instructions. Is it going to figure it out? This is like really minor. But here's our first edit. So Claude, thank you for generating lots of code. And then yeah, so now it's saying copy the env example to blah blah blah. So that's interesting, because I wonder if some of the files that it generated, if we did this practice, if we ran this prompt and vibe coded 100 times, and we checked where errors were in each of the files, if there would be a tendency for there to be errors near the files generated at the beginning rather than the end, because it's sort of like figuring out its plan as it goes. Still a little bit. It doesn't. The first README it generates. So there's a potential improvement for Claude Code is that actually, before it even generates the README, build more of a plan. Take more time. But if a lot of times when Claude is first used, if it's not creating an entirely new project, then maybe setting up that up is not necessary. All that reasoning. All right, so let's continue. Yes, make the edit. Hustle up. And I'm gonna get our API key over here. We're gonna follow those directions. That was just CP. Backend.env to backend.env. All right, and off camera, I'm going to update that. Almost there. All right. We have an API key. All right, next up on that README. The easiest way to start. Okay. We did the installation. I now run the app. Start SH. And let's see what happens. Claude, how far did you get on your first pass? And so if anything fails here, vibe coding style, we'll just feed it the error that we find. My first try with Claude Code, it could do some running of files to figure out errors. I forget how it was doing it, But ideally, it would actually like open this app up and like start poking at it itself. Perhaps an MCP way of doing that. Oh, you know what I should do? I should ask Claude to actually run it. So then it has, in context, it has any errors that come out. Because we just saw some errors. I think it got confused if we look at the start sh, like what directory it's in. So it's probably a really simple error. Please start the server. I've added my .env file with OpenAI key. Can't directly start it for you. Yes, you do have the ability. Please run the start sh script. I thought you did. Yes. There you go. Interesting. So yeah, sometimes it gets mixed up. It's cautious. It's I can't run scripts for you. Oh, yes I can. So now it picked up on that error. And now it's suggesting an edit to start sh. From the present working directory, create a base directory variable, and then make sure to cd into the correct folders, front end and back end. I actually am surprised that it kind of looks like this actually should have been working. So cd into back end, and then go run. Use ampersand at the end so that it's background the process. cd back one directory and then front end directory. Well, why didn't that work? Is there not a front end directory? There is. Let's go with this. What's going to happen? I'm not immediately seeing what the problem with that is. But obviously it was a problem. Yes. Please run it. Heyo. Look at that. Oh, I don't see my buddies. Are they going to show up when we start? Let's do, what do we share? What do we share? I don't actually have my game running today. We'll just share a web browser. And the Google. Hey, our little buddies. Hey, guys. All right, immediately. We made it pretty far, but I don't actually see the screen. See if we have any errors in our console. Connection refused. Oh, interesting. Claude is running. Is it listening? I wonder if it's gonna get stuck because it's like, because until the program crashes, it's not that command it ran is not going to complete. Warning. React does not recognize the source object prop on a DOM element. If you intentionally want it to appear on a DOM as a customer, spell it as lowercase source object instead. All right, so this would be like an example of a good thing to pass in to Claude. We're gonna have, I might have to quit Claude. I think, oh, hey, look. The front end is starting, but the back end has some missing dependencies. Hey, oh man, it figured that out. So good. Oh, I know. In the background, the Go dependencies were downloading, things like that. Some compile warnings. All right, Claude Code, you're figuring it out. Because I definitely, well, the back end, it must be started because it's, at least it's, we're seeing that the front end is, I wonder if it crashed actually. If we reload this. Oh yeah, it's still, the back end's still running. Let's just let Claude cook. Let's see how far it can get. Interesting, it wants to update these. Oh, I actually saw the viewers working. Interesting. I'm gonna say yes to that. Again, we're letting Claude Code cook. Give it a chance. Oh, these are the favicons and stuff. It's like, oh, I didn't make them. And they're just like blank files because I just created them. All right, it wants to try running start sh again, and that I think it might fail at, because it actually didn't. It may figure it out, but it didn't. The server's not killed, so it's gonna hit. The port is already. Line 56 kill. Oh, there's a kill. There's a grep for the processing kill in the start sh script, which apparently didn't work. What line was that? 56. Oh, a hard coded back. Okay, where did it get back end PID? Back end PID. Does this actually return the PID? And apparently that didn't work. All right, it has some other updates that it's thinking about. Why? So this going back to my comment before of I wonder if there's more errors at the beginning than the end. Like maybe this is it's like reflecting now, or we could be totally spiraling and making things worse. Seems to be an issue with the Go OpenAI package version compatibility. Well, there was this model issue. Did it recognize that? Yeah, still not a real model. Not sure what error it latched onto there. Oh, it was this. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was honing in on this, but unknown field multi-content and struct literal type struct. All right, so it's fixing that the message format. I wonder if it if Claude has the ability to go out and actually look at docs. It wants to run the backend again. Yeah, sure, dude. And it has some compile issues. Celebrating. I thought it said celebrating for a second. So it's probably going to propose some changes to try to fix this. So an observation that I'm having is O3 Mini versus Claude Code. So at first I was thinking it was to O3's detriment that it didn't do as much as Claude was doing. But perhaps that limiting the scope of what it's trying to accomplish is a good way so it doesn't end up spiraling. Because this could certainly be, we could be just making things worse at this point. Okay, so now it's actually using the log function, but it didn't need to. Removing this messages, which we saw was not used, according to the error. Yeah, try running it again. But if this works, like the fact that it's essentially like iterating, you know, it's in a loop where it's getting errors and trying to fix stuff, which is cool. And I have these options. I keep saying just yes, but there's, you know, as we'll note on when it finishes its puttering this time, that I could say yes, and I think the option is for the rest of the session. And so if you use that enough, I would imagine it can cook very independently. I'm actually in the background here. I'm gonna check my Claude budget. I think I only gave it like $3. We're gonna see how much money we spent so far. Just under $1 so far for all this work. That was like 80 cents. It's puttering real hard on this one. Puttering, I think that feels like an apt term for this one. It is. I guess it's running. It's running the command again with the like. It could be getting, you know, it's stuck, because it's just at this point just seeing if any errors pop out, or it could be doing something. That's not clear. It'd be nice if there. I wonder if there's a way, like maybe it's like a verbose mode to actually get the output. Command execution timed out. I wonder if that's that error that might be specific to Claude Code. That timeout. Gosh. Okay, it's trying to get more sophisticated with the way that it kills the backend process. It's gonna make sure that anything on 3080 gets killed. and if this is wrong, it just kills all processes on my computer. Sends the entire hard drive to dev null. Then I'll be seeing y'all later. So it almost looks like it's trying to kill it twice. Oops. Yeah, go ahead and try to run that again. Oh, you know, I'm viewing this on 3000. Is that part of our, was that part of our original issue here? Because isn't it supposed to mount the front end? Oh, but the port 3000 is probably the dev server, whereas 8000 will be the compiled version of the front end. Core's issue, but probably because the back end is not started. I've got 8 minutes left. Claude, I believe in you. I believe in your doings. Let's give it a shot. Yeah, I think at this point, it's... we need more human in the loop, obviously. Because we're starting to... I think that at this point, the vibe session ends. Like, hey, it got pretty far. We got a lot of setup, and now it's we just got some output. Compiled successfully. Yada yada yada. Some warnings. Great, it started. Now have fun. In case it actually was, there was still some startup, I'm just gonna... All right. This is still a cores issue. I think the server is actually not on. In our remaining 5 minutes, I'm gonna try to run this. Yeah, so we're still having that cores issue. Let's try feeding this back. Was it not, just in case it wasn't fully started? Yeah, still the issue. And this... No, thank you. All right, Claude. Issue I see in dev console on front end. Oops, whoa, shift, enter, not worky. Pass the handler to a cores middleware. Cores middleware should add the correct headers. Yep. To set access control allow origin 3000. Yes. Oh, what's this change? On usocket.js on the front end. New socket. Oh, with credentials. And cores origin. So some configuration on the front end in order to enable that. That's right. It's not just a back end thing, I think. That's interesting. Oh, it was just kept prompting me for the screen share. It was still active in the state. Wow. Okay. Stop share. Reload you. Still a WebSocket issue. Do we have some output? Nope, nothing from our server. Oh, it's still saying I still have some updates to make. Let's do it. On the back end. Oh, why do we need a new package? Was there an import of a different We've got Gorilla WebSocket and now Go Socket. I thought we already set up Claude, I thought we already set up the middleware. Is it completely rewriting this so it doesn't have, it's not using the Gorilla one? It's doing a refactor. Let it cook. Not confident. Googly. Yeah, it wants to get the dependency. No, we're not gonna have you do it. I think I want to do it myself. We're having some kind of WebSocket error, but we're not. I think we're in pretty rough shape for this vibe session. I'm gonna give, we got one more minute. We're gonna let we're gonna let Claude give Claude one more chance. Front end is down. It's thinking about it. I used another about 60 cents since we last checked. My minute is up. Claude, your final answer? wasn't it only running the back end? It's deleting my hard drive, I know it. Oh, I'm back on the prompt. Hey. Nice try. Thanks for your help. Oh, I can't actually hit enter on this. All right, Claude Code. This was a valiant effort. You wrote lots of code. We're not able to get the front end and the back end to communicate with each other. Yeah, sure. Unless it just fixed it. No, we're still having WebSocket errors. It's still thinking. I still can't enter a command. I was gonna give it this error. All right, we're gonna call it. So, in conclusion, Claude wrote lots of code, lots of good ideas. That seems like a decent starting point. Love the theater part and the robots it came up with. That's awesome. Good ideas on the personality part. Oh, Tom and Crow personality are different settings. I wasn't seeing that reflected on the back end. So this would be a good point to just like cut Claude off and just take it from here. Not necessarily going to do that. I think the place we got last time with O3 Mini was pretty decent. Maybe I'll use some of these assets that Claude generated for our robots, because we didn't have any robots. But it was pretty clean what we got from O3 Mini. There were some edits that we had to make from the O3 Mini stuff, feed in errors and make some fixes too. But yeah, the big takeaway for me, I think, is O3 Mini limits its scope of what it tries to do, and Claude tries to go all in and actually accomplish what you asked. That commitment to trying to do everything can cause it to end up going down rabbit holes, which is unfortunate. Like that lowers my confidence in this code to actually work in a code base and make fixes. Claude Code's ability to be able to run and just like feed it errors and make the edits it needs to do. Vibe coding with Claude Code. I mean, it could be that my mystery game Theater 3000 is god tier, S tier level complexity of apps. But really, what we're at the end of the day, we're just trying to like capture an image from a screen and feed it to an LLM on the back end and get a response. It's not really rocket science, more just glue. So nice try, Claude. Nice try, O3 Mini. Both getting us to some kind of starting places. I guess in contrast, O3 Mini will get you to our starting place where, hey, you still got to do some stuff yourself. It's not fully, it's more like an example. Here's a lot of the boilerplate, and not going too in depth on what the application needs to do. Claude will go deeper. So if you want to take an approach where you are, do you want to go with O3 Mini, and that's a good starting place to start human coding, or do you want to go with Claude Code, and it's going to do more for you, but you'll be debugging from that point, and maybe throwing out code. So depending on what you're in the mood for, different approaches, different tools, and then to be seen. This is just a creating a new project experiment. Then there is the, working as an assistant coder while actually building the app. That's a whole different can of worms. It's not every day you're creating a new application. That's one problem with a lot of these a lot of these examples of people creating apps with these LLMs. They're starting fresh, and they're not having to read a whole bunch of code that humans wrote or that other LLMs wrote. That seems to be where they fall apart when they start to devolve as soon as the complexity gets to a certain level. I need to get very targeted with how you're describing the problem, and the context you're giving them needs to be. You need to still use your brain, your human brain. Well, interesting project. I guess on the next episode we'll actually we'll move forward with connecting the O3 Mini version to an LLM. I want to don't care how it looks. I just want to start getting some feedback from an LLM. It's totally excited about getting it hooked up to a remote or to a local LLM. I've got this NVIDIA Orin Super Nano dude who's got enough tops to I'm hoping run the Phi Vision model, and that so maybe one viewer could be one of the robots could be a remote model, and another one of the models could be powered by this one, and they would just be two different services. So those more fun, more complexity for the app to deal with. But with that, I'm gonna call it. Thanks for watching. I'm RJ Corwin, and have a good day. Bye now.